Hey, what's up YouTube? Mike back with another video, and this is my $10 overhead rig. Now you could go make something like this, which is massively complicated, but I decided to do something very simple that requires a couple of bits of scrap timber, a monopod, a few screws and brackets. So here's the equipment that we're going to be using. We'll need one cordless drill. We'll also need 1x tape measure, a couple of flat metal brackets which you can pick up from your hardware store, some posi screwdriver bits, 1x 8mm wooden drill bit, 1x titanium step drill to widen some holes, and any decent quality timber. I'm using CLS 75 by 38mm batten. Now, as much as I want this to be almost like a tutorial, it isn't, because everybody's desk and the depth is going to be different. So this small piece of wood that I'm mounting on top of the actual wood that I'm going to cut is exactly the correct size from the back of my wall to the centre of my desk. So now that I have marked my longer piece, the main central part of the arm, the overhead rig, it measures, by the way, 18.5 inches. Now you can adjust this to meet your needs. So now I'm going to cut this because I need one long centerpiece. Now what I've done is change the angle of my saw to a 45-degree angle. I'm going to measure out exactly 9-inch pieces. These are going to be the two support pieces on either side. Now what I need to do is cut a 45-degree angle on both sides of the 8-inch sections. I'm going to do this 2 times. So now this is what a completed part should look like. So both ends of this 9-inch piece have got a 45-degree angle. Make sure you flip it over and you don't mess it up. But if it's only scrap wood, so if you mess it up, do it again. But this is what it should look like, guys. Now just repeat the process and make another piece exactly the same. Now that we've got our 2 support pieces, we're going to line it all up so it sits flush on the table and draw the line for the top of the support pieces on either side. This will allow us to mark a little centre point to make screwing in at an angle easier. Now these are standoffs off a Versa TV mount. I've got some drywall screws because they're really sharp and they're fairly strong. I'm going to use a couple of posi bits to drill these in and my drill. Now if you haven't got these standoffs, you don't need them. Now there is a reason why I'm using these. You can just use a stack of washers, maybe about 1 centimetre thick, going in at an angle, drilling straight into the centrepiece. Now do exactly the same for the other side. So now you should have something like this. Take a flat metal strap. This is what I'm using. That's the size of the screws. You can use bigger screws if you wish. And I'm going to put it flat across the 2 ends and the centerpiece. Now this thing will hunker the whole thing down, and it should be able to take up to a weight of around 10 to 15 pounds worth of camera equipment and gear. So that's more than enough for what I need. For the next bit, we're going to need the appropriate nut and bolt, which is a 1/4 inch thick, a wooden drill bit and a monopod. So clamp the structure into place, make sure it's secure, mark off a centre point and drill a hole through the tip of the support piece in the middle, about 1 inch away from the edge. So here we go. So here's a closer look at the drilled hole. Now what we want to do is make it big enough for the head of the bolt to sit inside the wood, not all the way through, so that's why we're going to use a step drill to make this thing hole secure, and then we're going to pour some epoxy off the top and some from the bottom to make this thing totally secure and you don't have to worry about anything. So let's have a look. So as you can see, nope, not quite fitting in, so we're going to give it another go. If I can get this thing out. So it sits in a little bit, but we want it to go down about 1 centimetre, so let's widen it up. And that should hopefully be more than enough. So let's see how it sits. There you go, guys, it sits perfectly. Now that the nut is through, you can see from the bottom, what I'm going to do is take the monopod and it should just thread nice and tightly. Just keep twisting it until it fits absolutely perfect. Put a little bit of epoxy on the bottom of the monopod as well, just to make that thing a little bit more secure. There you have it, guys. As you can see, it can tilt, it can extend down because it's on a monopod, and the whole thing is pretty damn secure. So for the next part, don't judge me, guys, I have got my wife's slippers on. So what I found is this piece of styrofoam, which is what I'm going to use. I'm going to put this thing down, and I wanted to spray paint it black or white. What I had was black spray paint, so this is exactly what I'm going to do. Spray paint the whole thing like this, and just to finish it off. Now, like I said, this isn't included in the cost of the build. This is just something I had lying around, so you don't have to do it, but it just makes it a little bit nicer because you got the rubber on the monopod, which happens to be black, and the whole thing just going to look a little bit nicer. So give it a spray paint, and you know what, that is pretty much it. And then we're just going to screw it straight onto the batten that you saw in my office at the start of the video, and job done. So here it is, guys. So this is what my setup looks like now when I'm doing like unboxing videos or taking photos for thumbnails, etc. It is really good. So here's what it looked like when I first had it up. And you know what? I find it really functional. It's so cheap to make and it's very useful. So here's a little video clip coming up that I shot recently with the overhead rig. So this is a video review of the Cerenova XPE 460 projector. Check it out, links will be in the video description. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this little quick simple build. If you did, hit that like button, maybe even consider subscribing. Thank you for watching, I'll see you soon.